Hello everyone. So today we are going to be going through the database system of Victory Club membership system. So this is just a brief outline of how it looks like. So we'll be going through it without wasting much time. So sit back, relax and enjoy the show. So I'm going to briefly start the system. Here's the splash screen how it looks like. So we can go into it. So after the system loads up, this is how it looks like. So this on my left hand side there is a navigation bar. I can easily navigate through my various phones so as to maybe easily use my system. So we are going to be going through every one of them and maybe be seeing what was expected in this system and the major maybe things you might be doing. So we are going through this part. So let's quickly get started. So with me here is my dashboard that quickly displays the statistics that are currently going the system. Like for instance, there are a total of 12 members, a total of 11 clubs, and the current allocation for the ongoing activities sums up to 50,000. That is my current one. Then the annual party sums up to 30,000, and the total revenue sums up to 100,350 Kenya shillings. Then there is a graph here that will display the trend or maybe how members are actually joining. So it will display for the each and every year there is. As you can see here, there is a legend that explains or that tries to show this color represents January, this one represents February, as you can see, but as we'll keep on adding more, we'll be seeing. And also we have a finance chart. So these ones also can be used to show a summary of the financing that is going on, maybe by the clubs. In this one you can know there are two finances, but the portion is largely with this one. This is because it means that for the first financing, the bigger portion of this value, this portion, the blue portion here has way too much money than the other ones. So that's why the difference is there. But we'll still keep on seeing how. So if you can start with the first bit here is the adding activities. Here you can generally record any activities. Like for instance, you can see on my right hand side there are 3 major activities that were going on. So if you would wish to add a more activity, maybe let's add another one. Then you just provide an activity ID to represent that information for that activity. Then maybe you choose, then the next thing you have to choose is your club. Yeah, you are in a debating club, drama club, music club. Let's say for instance, say you are in music. So you have to specify the name of the activity. Maybe it was a music festival, then you provide the date that it was recorded, maybe today, that is on 28th. Then the amount that was collected from this activity, let's say it was a little bit of 10,000. Then I can save that activity. As you can see, my activity was successfully added. So as you can see here, the changes reflect immediately. Activity 5, that was music club, went for event for music festivals. It was recorded on this date and this amount was corrected. So all the other activities as well, if you add any activities, you will absolutely get those ones here. Now be sure very much to note down the data that was recorded, because when it comes to financing of the clubs, you are told very well that the clubs need financing, and there was some percentage that was being allocated to each and every club based on the activities that they are doing, maybe to support on the ongoing activities, maybe for also, as well, we can also say there were also some club savings as well. That was 20% of the allocations. Yeah, there was also some annual parties, and maybe some other allocations as well. So you have to note down the data that was recorded. It is very much crucial when it comes to funding these clubs, because it will have to check for the last data that was recorded, so as not to double fund a club 2 times. Yeah, maybe that activity was already passed, but maybe it gets funded again, or the club gets funded again for maybe those activities, but or we have to check for the last time that we funded, so that maybe we know how to fund it very appropriately. So we'll still get back to it. We'll get back into that when we come to funding. Then on my button here I have a view report. I can actually view those data that I've added. Like for instance, we can see here, this is the activity we just added over here. So it's just a report. It shows how briefly it was added. Then this is the financing of the clubs. You can allocate funds over here, but we'll come back to that. As you can see, my values still are the same as they were reading in my dashboard. If you can recall very well, 100,000, 150, 30,000, 105, those were still the same figures that are there. So we've still made sure our system is up to date and accurate in recording those activities. Into the next button, we have student registration. Now this panel, or this page, this is where we carry out the registration of all students. Maybe if a student has come and joined the school, and be very much careful. This is we have student and we have membership, so we must be able to differentiate them both. So this is basically used to store maybe the student that has joined the school, and maybe here we have also viewing of unregistered students. You can print that if you like. We are going to add a brief record very fast, so that we see what actually is happening. So let me quickly add it. I've added my data like that, so we can now go on and save it and get that the data was successfully added. So if I come and view the unregistered students, as you can see here, the data that we've just added, it's already gone, but as you can see here, the data that we've just added has been reflected as unregistered. So if a student immediately joins, he or she will need to be registered. So after that, maybe you can decide to maybe register that person by just coming through over here to the membership registration. Now then below here we have a report. It's just basically shows those students that have been registered in the system. So as you can scroll there, you can be able to see that. And I'm telling you now we can go to the membership registration. This is where now you officially register a student for maybe for a club or maybe something like that. For now, for instance, if I can view my last membership ID is MBR009, so I can quickly add the next ID. Then after specifying my next ID, I can actually now come and choose my the student that I've just added. That is Victory BD. Then I can choose the club I want to register him. Let's say it's drama club. Then as you can see, there is auto-filling here of the fees and whatever. We can also specify the role of the student, maybe a regular member. Then we can just specify the date that the member joined will be just today. So after specifying that, you can save. So as we have seen here, these values are automatically auto-filling themselves. If you change a club, they will, you don't need again to specify the name and the fees. It will automatically do that for you. So since this one was in a drama club, we'll just save them there. Then we can save. And I told the registration was successful. So if I view the membership report, I can be able to see that the ID that I've just added, this one MB10, is successfully registered. So if you come to again student registration and view and registered members, now we see that the student is no longer here because he has been registered. So that's how it goes. That's the membership. So if you'd like to maybe clear a student from the current role, or maybe shift the student to another club, you can as well use this, but we'll still come to that. So we are done with this part. So if you'd like to delete the record, you just use the delete record. If you want to print it, you can actually print that using this button here. So you can print as well with that. Then the other bit, we have addition of clubs. So here you can carry out the registration of clubs. That is adding the club ID, the club name, the fee, the registration fee, and also appointing the necessary patron. So because I've added all of them, you can specify the details beginning with the club ID, the club name, the fees. Just like I've said, you choose your patron again. So again, if you choose, it will autofill that for you. So be very much what you just add the data. Now as for me, I've added all the clubs, so I don't need to do any more additional work over here. Then after maybe you save, you can maybe view club finances. Now in this case, it means that it will display a list of it will display a report of the current funding to the clubs. As you can see here, my art club has been allocated, or it has 100 shillings. It has been allocated 30 shillings, 20 shillings as savings. It's because of the total revenue. We still consider the percentaging and whatever. So the annual parties was 30% of this. So again, 20% was from this. That was the savings. The school contribution is 70% of the annual parties allocation. So 70% of 30 shillings should amount to this. Then for the ongoing activities, it was 50% of the total revenue. So 50% of 100 should be 50. Then the cycle continues like that. So it will do that for each and every club according to the last date that was the funds were allocated. So that's why I was telling you to be very much keen when recording those dates. because it will affect how the clubs receive funds. Be very much keen on recording those dates because they will affect how the clubs are funded in the future. So be very much keen on that. So if you can save the data if you prefer to, or if there are missing clubs that are there. Then the other bit is the patrons. This is where you can add some patrons, maybe to a point for the or maybe some patrons to a point to the clubs. This basically means they are the teachers that are in that school, that work in that school, so that because we are told each and every club has a patron who is a teacher, so you can quickly add them over here. So like for instance, I can just copy my last ID, so you can quickly specify a name. Then you can save the data. Then maybe you can decide to view the patrons report. So this is how it looks like, the details of all patrons that are registered. So they will appear here as you've seen. The one that we've just added, it's here. So the next bit is about financing of clubs. Now in this part is where we actually deal with the financing of the school clubs. Remember, if you can go back to your question again, you are told there was some percentages that were being allocated to each and every club. Now you have to know that first of all, financing does not occur every time. It takes place maybe once in every 4 months, or once in every 6 months, or maybe once per year. That's when financing does occur. So in this case, you might decide to finance your clubs based on the last day that you did your allocation. Now in this case, you might decide, maybe if I fund today, I might decide to maybe fund again after 6 months or 7 months, or maybe 8 months, or whichever duration I would like to fund my club. So you just have to know that it doesn't occur each and every time. Then you have to still consider the percentages that you are being told. That is, the annual parties allocation was the 30% of the total revenue. The savings were 20%. The school contribution was 70% of the annual parties allocation, or 70% of 30%. Then for the ongoing activities, it was actually 50% of the total revenue that was actually earned. Yeah, so annual parties allocation was 30% of the total revenue, savings was 20%. Ongoing activities allocation was actually 50% of the total revenue. So if you can add those three, you will get 100%. So this typically means that for instance, now consider this scenario. If the clubs last recorded a financing transaction maybe on the 1st of January, so you might decide, the next time I'm funding, I must get the total amount that I have collected since that time, so that I use that as my total revenue. So for instance, if you went 10 activities from January up to now, and you collected 10,000 each in each and every activity, you will have 100,000, because it's 10,000 times 10. So that 100,000 is the one that I'm going to use as my total revenue based on the last date that I did another funding. So you still have to implement that, in that you don't look at the total revenue since you started the clubs. You have to look at the total revenue from that day that you did your allocations. hope you can get the difference. So again, you still have to remember that total revenue is being got from the total amount that is obtained from the activities, and the total amount on registration. Again, you still, because we want to ensure we don't count funds 2 times by every time recording, since we started to find how much have we earned. That is again another tedious task. So you can simplify that by having recording a transaction date. So you can construct, or you can implement a feature such that on your next funding, you'll check the last date that was funded, then go to the registration table, view all those members who registered after that date, then collect the total amount, and still consider areas for each and every club. So you just don't take every student, but take for a specific club. So if for instance there is a computer science club, maybe you last funded on January the 1st, so today is on 29th. So if you decide to fund again, you have to check for all those people who registered as a computer science club from 1st January up to now, because that will be the new fee that was earned. Then you go to the activities, also capture all the activities that the computer science club did from 1st January up to now, then take the sum of the total revenue that was corrected, that will be your, then add the two, the sum from the computer science membership joining and from their activities. So that is what will give you the total revenue. Then now you can distribute that total revenue with these fields here. The annual parties, you multiply 30% of the total revenue, that is adding all the members who registered in computer science from that date up to now, and plus the total amount that was earned in the activities from that date up to now. So that will be specified here in the data recorded, as we will be recording one transaction. We will be seeing what I'm saying. So that is basically how it goes. Then the savings will be 20% of the total revenue. Then school contribution is 70% of the annual parties collection allocation there. So the school contributes 70% of the annual allocation, and the ongoing will be 50% of total revenue. Now with me here, I can decide to add some sample data. Let's say for my computer science club, it will now go and check for the last funding date that was for this. Process is automatic, so you just have to select your club, then click on allocate funds. You can see the values are fluctuating, or they are changing. There are some with 0 values or null, and you have to know that you cannot allocate null funds. So this one will raise an error that we do not have enough funds to allocate, because you can see nothing has been given, or the total revenue is nothing. Then for the CS or computer science club, as you can see, maybe from the last transaction date that I recorded here, we've earned a total of 100,000 and 500 shillings, maybe from registration and maybe the activities that they've registered. So if you can calculate that, you can get that 30,150 is 30% of these. Then 20,100 is 20% of these, and the 21,105 is 70% of these. Then 50,250 is 50% of these. You can calculate as well. Then you just provide your financing ID. Yeah, if I can view my financing report, you can see that I actually have already allocated my funds to the CS club. So also the art club again. So if I earned a total of 1,250 from that time up to now, so that will be the actual distribution of these funds. So you just have to maybe add more students and engage in more activities. Then you just have to select your club ID and allocate your funds. So That's how it basically does. And you can also view the financing history from here. Maybe the CS club, you can view the previous financing, how it was actually being carried out. So that's how it basically works. Then over here you can see some summary of the data. Maybe 50,000 was is currently for the ongoing. If you can view that, if you maybe add this, the two values 51, 25 plus 50, you're supposed to get these. And for the annual activities, if you add 30,000 and 30, you should get this value. Then total revenue is 100,350. Again, if you add these two, you should get this. So that's how it typically means. So then here you can specify the date that you did some funding, maybe today. Then you can see my financing ID. And also if you want to just view for a specific club, you can just right click and use this filter option here. Maybe you can view a particular club that you would like to view. Now you can continue viewing as well. So here you can finance the same club again. Then we can save our data and you can see that the funds were successfully allocated for that club. So if I can view my report again, you can see that the funding again was pretty much successful. So typically that's how it should work. So be sure not to maybe record one transaction multiple times, because it still says that we earned a total of 100,150 because the date still is the same. The range that we are checking is still the same, so there won't be that change. So we are assuming that you allocate only once, then maybe come back after a while, maybe 6 months, you find that the value is fluctuating. So that's how the financing of the clubs work. Then we can move on to tracking of membership. Now in this case, as you can see here, my form is very much simply designed. Here we have some report that's showing some data for all memberships. So here you can specify the remember that we are being told to a system that should track members who enter or leave a club at the beginning of every year, academic year. So you can, because an year isn't fixed, or we are not sure when the year started for the school, maybe the academic year, it might start on January 10th, January 7th, January 14th, it might fluctuate, that is what I mean. And also the year that it ended, it might end in November, October, December, so we'll have to specify. Maybe saying ours started on 1st, then maybe ended then in October 30th. So if I click on track, I can view, as you can see here. Let me put it on screen, as you can see. So here we have two reports. We have students who joined and exited. Then we have students who joined but are still there, and you can also see their dates are as well recorded. You can see your membership ID, your student ID, your club ID, your club name, your role, the date that you joined and the date that you left, and the total that amount that you had paid for that club. So it will be visible over here. So this one is continuous because of the other data. So again, you can still keep on viewing some other data here, like for instance the members who joined but didn't exit. Here they are, of the permanent members who their part is over there. So that's how tracking of members occurs. You can enter any date of choice that you would like to. It depends on the duration that you want to view those members that maybe entered or exited a club at a particular given moment or time. So that's how it basically works, like that. Then you have the second last part, that is the clearance of a student. Now maybe you might need to what we call shifting of a clubs, or demoting, or removing permanently. So in this case, if you are told that every leader that maybe requires to shift from a certain club must do so with the club patron, or want to clear from a club must do so with the club patron. So for instance, if I can view my members, not here, but if I can view my members, but for me here I don't have a leader, but I can quickly add one. So I can just view the unregistered student. In this case, let's say VCR 007, you can see he isn't registered, so I can appoint, or I can have a membership ID MB11. So can choose the student that is not registered, let's say that one. We can register him in the science club. Let's say he's an executive and joined today. Save. So if I can want to clear that student, I can view the report over here. As you can see, here is his data. So he was added MB011 VSC 008, that is his student ID, and he is an executive. So if I would like to clear that student, I can just come and have his ID over here, so that I first of all identify who that person is. I hope you can get that difference. So I can input my student ID so that we decide what we want to do, either demote, shift, or remove. So let me add my ID. So as you can see, here is the data that we added. He was in the science club, he was a membership ID is, and was an executive. So I can just click on the record to extract his membership ID. Once I extract my membership ID, I can choose my action, maybe demote, shift, or remove permanently. So if I would like to demote, I just click on check on the demote radio button. Then if I perform, you can see the member was demoted. So but if you'd like to shift the student to another club, you just shift first of all, then I can still search for the same student. As you can see, he was given another membership ID. That is that's what happens. So I can choose the latest one, this one. So if we shift from the current club, so we can shift the person to drama club, maybe, and choose their new role as regular, and we can perform. You can see he has been assigned a new membership ID, and the student has been shifted successfully. So that's what basically happens with this part for handling users. So again, I can actually decide to extract the ID and then update as well. So the last thing are the reports. So we have the first report, that is a viewing of activities, so you can view it very much quickly. So this one will show all the activities that have taken place in the clubs. The club ID, you have the activity ID, the club ID, the name, the date, and the amount that was corrected. So it will show all the details as you have seen. You can switch between views. You can print it if you'd like to, and also view it in the report view if you'd like to. As you can see, you can also apply filters in this case. For instance, if you like to say the club ID a specific one, you can apply text filters and say equals equal. For instance, let's say the mathematics one, I can copy the ID, then I can apply text filters, club ID equal to math, and you can see the records are sorted again according to the math. I can decide to apply another one or remove it. If I remove, they are displayed. Then we have the clubs report. This displays the report about clubs. I can switch the view again to report. Again, my data is displayed over here. The club ID, the club name, the fees, and the patron name. They are all displayed there as well. Can also view my finances summary. This will display a summary of all clubs revenues. For instance, total revenue for the computer science club, for instance, we have total revenue, annual parties, allocation, we have savings, we have school contribution, ongoing school activities, location. Then you have the membership report. I can quickly view to or switch to report view or the normal view. You can see the report over there. Then you have the patrons that will display a list of all patrons that are registered in the school. You can switch views to print view if you'd like to. Then you can see the patrons are displayed. We have the unregistered students. This displays a list of all students that are not registered. Then you have the clubs and school contribution. So this will display according to the club ID, the finances and the summaries as well, the school contributions and everything. The club ID will be grouped as like we have seen here. Then you have the finances ID. Then you have the totals. Now these totals will display according, like this total, for instance, the total revenue, the savings, and school contribution. The same case applies over here with this record. The total again. For all these finance IDs, I can see the total amount again corresponds effectively. Total revenue, savings, and school contribution. And those are the reports. They will be displayed like that. So basically that was a system, how it looks like, how it functions. So I hope you enjoyed the video. You can still get by contacting us with the contact in the description. We hope you enjoyed. So that was all. This is a full system. So hope again you're able to learn a thing or two about how it works. So the full video now is out. There's a full project. So thank you.